What's up, y'all? Kelly Clarkson with Wayfair. My favorite thing about the holidays? Decking out my whole house. It's not a competition, but if it was, well, I'd win the season with Wayfair. Outdoor inflatable Santa? Got it on Wayfair. Trees, lights, and ornaments? Wayfair. Hosting must-haves like dining sets, beds, sheets, and towels? Wayfair. For everything in your style delivered with fast and free shipping, visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app to win the season. But again, it's not a competition.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
College football never stops. When college football news breaks, it breaks on On3. From the transfer portal to the playoff race to coaching changes, the sport is moving every single day. That's why college football fans turn to On3, a trusted authority with real reporters and real communities built around the teams you care about. Find all of your favorite teams and join the community. Get the full picture at on3.com. That's ON and the number 3.com.
Everyone struggles to focus. Everyone struggles with memory once in a while. Everyone struggles with distractibility or impulsivity. But there's a big difference between a typical human being being tired or hungover and struggling and joking about like, oh, I'm so ADHD, like that next to someone who actually has ADHD and their lives are like debilitated because of it.
Welcome to the Bomb Life Podcast, where fitness, mindset, and real talk collide. This isn't just about workouts. It's about transforming your body, mind, and life. Get ready for unfiltered conversations, expert advice, and the motivation you need to level up in every way. Hey everyone, welcome to the Bomb Life Podcast. I am Melissa Vogel, your host, and Merry Christmas. If you are listening to this in real time, it is the day after Christmas. We decided to push this podcast to the day after Christmas because I know everyone is just so busy and enjoying family on Christmas Day. We don't want you to miss an episode or forget, so we're launching this one the day after. I hope everyone had an amazing Christmas and you guys were one step closer to the new year. Oh my God, it's going to be 2026. I can't believe it. I feel like we were just talking about Halloween yesterday. I say that all the time. And I'm the type of person that keeps talking about New Year's resolutions. Like, we'll be talking about it in March, in April, and be like, what did you say you wanted? Are you still working on that? So I kind of don't let that go. So just get used to that if you're new to the podcast. And if you are new to the podcast, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. And if you're a returning guest, if you're a returning listener, welcome back. This episode, you guys, it's the perfect time for it. We're talking all about ADHD. And we have had this conversation on this podcast several times. We've had different guests on, and I just love learning more and more and more about the human brain, how it impacts our health, fitness, and wellness, and ADHD and how that affects our health and fitness and our relationships and everything. And I know there's going to be a lot of you that will be able to listen to this episode and go, oh my God, I think that's me. Holy crap, I never even considered that. Or you might listen and go, yep, that's me. Totally know this, already know this. And then you're going to take all this information to just help better yourself and learn more and just keep growing and learning. And then some of you are going to listen and you're going to go, wow, that's my child, or that's my sister, or someone else close to you that you can relate, or your significant other. ADHD is very underdiagnosed in females. It's definitely more diagnosed and recognized in males. And I couldn't believe it. Our guest today had said that the average age for a female to be diagnosed is 38. Like, what? That's crazy. I've talked a lot about my own personal journey with this several times. If you're new to it, this is going to be the first time you're hearing about it. But if you're new to the podcast, I should say. But ADHD has been very real and very strong in me for a long time. I knew something was different and off about me when I was younger. And I got diagnosed, I say this in the beginning of the episode, around 19, 20. And I think I really only acknowledged it and saw that it was even a problem because of the degree that I was going after and working in social work and just learning more about behavior. And I was like, oh crap, I should get help while I'm still on my parents' insurance. I should find a therapist and really start talking and diving into other things going on in my life too. And he was like, I'll never forget, it was like the second session. I'm trying to think now. I think it was the second session that I went to him. And he's like, so have you ever seen a therapist before or talked about ADHD? Have you ever heard of that before? What? No, I'm not running around. I'm not some spaz. Like, that's what I thought. And I probably said that too. And he's like, that's not all what it is. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we did all this testing. Like, we're talking cards with the ink blots on them type testing, did all of it. And yeah, lo and behold, that was me. And I did have a period where I was on Concerta. And it helped, definitely helped, but there's a lot of side effects to it too. And it wasn't me, and I couldn't do it long term. And honestly, I got pregnant. Just a lot of things, like, no. And it wasn't for me. And I had to learn coping skills and how to live a whole new life of, not letting this take over. So today's episode is all about this, and you guys are going to really relate. And this is a perfect time because this is the time of year where we're like, okay, what's the next thing that I have to do? What's going to happen in January? What are we doing for New Year's? And what does next year look like for me? What are my goals? And an ADHD brain has a really hard time wrapping their head around goals. What am I going to achieve? What am I going to go after? What's the next step? And then executing it. This is a real thing, but the more you guys are educated on this and you can help those that you love or yourself, the stronger you're going to be. You're going to have more tools on your tool belt and in your toolbox to help you live your best life ever. It doesn't have to be an excuse. It can be something that helps move you forward. So today we have Kristen Carter on. You guys have to check her out. She's the host of I Have ADHD podcast and a multi-certified coach who's supported thousands of people with ADHD worldwide. Kristen's extensive experience working with ADHDers began in 2012. I asked her about her journey and I loved hearing all about her story. And she now leads a global community of adults with ADHD in her coaching program, Focused. Kristen lives outside of Philadelphia and she has 3 sons of her own. You can go to her website. We'll put everything in the show notes too, but her website's super easy, www.ihaveadhd.com, and then go to /about and you can learn even more because we need to know. We need to know the signs, the symptoms, everything. And there is, yes, a lot that goes into ADHD. And you can have ADHD-like symptoms from hormones, perimenopause, menopause, other stress and anxiety going on in your life, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have it. So, there's a fine line about educating, learning, and truly having it, or, hey, is this a red flag for something else going on in my life? And that's what today's episode is here to help you kind of like figure out and separate and then move forward so you can live your best life. I am here to help you guys coach. We talk a little bit about the coaching program in the episode. Kristen is a coach too. And she said one thing of like, I got choked up, you guys. I seriously got choked up in the episode. If you see the video, you can you can see, but I kept it together on the mic. But she talks about coaching and how, what a special and important job that we have in the lives that we hold in our hands. And it's so true. And if you're someone who's just ready to like, you know what? I don't want to live another year like 2025 or 2024 or anything before that. I want 2026 to be different. I can't do another year the same. I can't do another year in this body that I'm not happy with. And I want to move forward. I want to truly make change. And you're like, I just don't know how. Book a call. Just get on a discovery call with me. 15 minutes. We'll see what plan is best for you. We never know until we're on that call. And then we can move forward. And I'm here to help. And there's no shame in coaching and helping you really determine like, this is my goal. This is my action plan. This is how I execute. All right. So always go to the show notes, you guys. I'm here to help. As always, rate and review the podcast. Please 5 stars if you feel it's appropriate, and write a review. They help a ton. All right, everyone, enjoy the show. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Bomb Life Podcast. Today we have Kristen Carter on the show. Kristen, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, girl, I can't wait to dive into this conversation. We have talked about ADHD on this podcast several times. I was personally diagnosed when I think I was 19 or 20. Yeah, would have been super helpful to know as a child. And I just got kind of passed along. So I'm very passionate about this. I talk about this a lot in my own therapy. I'm very big on mental health, and I share that I have a therapist and all that. So
Love. Same.
I'm very, very open about it. But I love having conversation around this. I don't think I could ever get sick and tired of talking about this.
I mean, same. I do this all day, every day.
All day, every day.
I will never tire of chatting about it, educating about it, discovering more and more and more about it. It's just like, I feel like it's the more I learn, the less I know. You know, it's just like that kind of thing that you can just keep learning and learning and learning. But it's amazing.
Yeah. Do you ever get frustrated with people that are like, oh my God, I totally have ADHD. I know what it's like. And you know them and you're like, no, you don't. I find myself doing that and I get frustrated because I'm like, I have known you for a long time and you and I are not alike. I mean, I know it's different for everyone, but do you ever run into that and you're like,
I mean, of course, especially, you know, now that it's like a trending topic on Instagram, on TikTok, like that kind of a thing.
I know.
It's so frustrating because to a certain extent, like ADHD doesn't create new problems. My colleague, Ari Tuckman, he's like very well known in the ADHD community. And he says ADHD doesn't create new problems. It exacerbates the universal problems. Right. And so like, of course, everyone struggles to focus. Everyone struggles with memory once in a while. Everyone struggles with distractibility or impulsivity. But there's a big difference between a typical human being being tired or hungover and struggling and like joking about like, oh, I'm so ADHD, like that next to someone who actually has ADHD and their lives are like debilitated because of it. And so yes, it's annoying. I have one of my sons is diagnosed with OCD and it's very similar. You know, somebody will be like, oh my gosh, I'm so OCD about being clean. And I'm like, you have no idea what OCD is. You have no idea how distressing OCD is and how like for most people, it has nothing to do with keeping your room clean.
I know. And it's almost like insulting. It's
very insulting. I agree with you. It's very minimizing of the actual struggle of these conditions.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, you're stressed and you're multitasking. You're doing all these things at once. And you're like, I so have ADD. I'm like,
right.
Okay.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah, no. So Kristen, how did you get into this? How did this become like what you podcast on? Because you're the host of the I Have ADHD podcast. I mean, you're a multi-certified coach and you've helped thousands of people with ADHD worldwide. How did this become what you do?
I mean, it's a very interesting story. So I was diagnosed at ADHD right around the same time that you were, about age 21.
Okay.
Which is actually very young for females. So yes, it's annoying that it took, until college for me to be diagnosed, but actually the median age of diagnosis for females is 38 years old. Most females are diagnosed much later. So we're pretty lucky. Yeah, we're pretty lucky. Yeah.
Did you find therapy how did you know? How did you get diagnosed? Because I was like, I know I'm not normal. I know there's something going on. I know I got a lot of family trauma, and I sought out my own therapist while I was still on my parents' insurance.
So smart at age 19.
Yeah, I'm like,
wow. So I did not have as good of a head on my shoulders at the age of 19, 20 that you did. My dad was diagnosed, which is kind of wild because he was diagnosed in the mid 90s, which is like hard for adults to be diagnosed, back in the day.
Back in the day.
And he was diagnosed after reading Ned Hallowell's book, famed book, Driven to Distraction. So he read that book, went for a diagnosis, was diagnosed, and then he just kept nagging me about it. You have ADHD. I know you have ADHD. And I was like, whatever. You don't know me. You don't know anything. But then I went to college and I was double majoring and I was drowning and I was struggling with depression, anxiety, disordered eating, totally chaotic mess. And so finally, I was failing everything. We're actually like getting A's in some things and F's in others, which, is the typical ADHD pathway. And so I finally consented and went and got a diagnosis. But again, I did not have as much self-awareness as it seems like you did at that time. And I was just like, great, I'll take a stimulant. And it did change my life, but pills don't teach skills. Pills also doesn't heal family trauma and dysfunction. It doesn't teach you how to like regulate your emotions and figure out how to be a human being. And so that came much, much later.
Okay.
So it was in my 30s, I owned a learning center in my hometown and I worked with students who struggled in school. That was my job. I loved it so much. I kept attracting families whose kids had ADHD and I was like, well, this is so weird. All of these ADHD families keep coming and I would help the kids and it was great, but the parents would come to me and be like, I think I have ADHD too. Like, what do I even do? And this is like 2013, 2014, like there was not much out there.
No.
And I just kept like researching, helping them, but continually looking for a resource for adults with ADHD. And there just wasn't much out there. And so after checking like the Apple Podcast 700 times and being like, somebody's got to do this, I was finally like, I could probably start a podcast. Like I've been researching all of it. I've been helping all of these kids. I could probably start a podcast. And you know, it's like that tiny voice in the back of your head where you're like, oh, you're angry about it. Oh, you see a void. You're the one that's supposed to do it. I'm like, oh, okay. So I started the podcast in 2019 and it just kind of took off. And from there, I got certified as a coach. When I got certified as a coach, I was like, oh, this is what I've been doing my whole life without people's consent, accidentally coaching everyone since I was like 11. So it really felt like coming home to what I was always meant to be doing. And yeah, I started my focus program in 2020. That's my group coaching program. So now I only work in group setting.
Okay.
And it's amazing because ADHDers are lonely and isolated and rejection sensitive and just feel like they're too much in every room that they enter. And so having a group of ADHDers who understand each other, that is like a safe environment for them to exist as themselves is the best. So,
oh yeah. I can completely relate to like what you're saying of like, oh my God, I've been doing this my whole life. And I just have a piece of paper to, whoops. I just have a piece of paper to like validate that. But
exactly.
I can relate to your journey so much with like what I do with my training program too. And I'm like, isn't there something out there that's coaching people like with their nutrition, along with their mindset, along with their emotional skills and like bringing it all together? And I'm like, no one's doing this.
Right. Why isn't someone doing this?
Yeah. You could be a trainer or a nutritionist or a therapist or social worker, but like, why isn't anyone like bringing all of those elements together? Yeah, I can relate to that. But the group setting too, oh my God.
Huge.
It will blow like any other type of program like out of the water because people can relate. They feel validated. They don't feel alone. And like when you bring the same people together, they understand that. And I love it that people can do it now with the technology we have.
I know. We're so lucky. We're so lucky. I know. I totally agree. And a lot of people kind of feel like, well, a whole group of ADHDers, like, isn't that just going to be absolute chaos? But we have a lot of systems in place to make sure that it's not chaotic. And truly, you know, so many of our wounds are relational wounds, and those need to be, can't be healed in isolation, right? They have to be healed in the context of relationships. And so that's a ton of the work that we do inside of Focused.
That's so true. I love that. Okay, we're going to come back to Focus because I want to hear and know like more all about it. What are some of the biggest myths that you have heard, you know, over the years about ADHD that you wish that like people were like, I really wish you understood this better? Because that is not true.
The biggest one that comes to mind is one that might make people a little bit upset. So I just want to preface this by saying, if this makes you angry, I totally understand and you're allowed to be angry. But the biggest myth that I've seen across the board is that ADHD is a superpower or that ADHD is awesome. It gets me riled up. So here, let me make like a case for it. Okay. People with ADHD are incredible. And they can do so many amazing things. And they have had to overcome so much and work most of the time twice as hard, 3 times as hard as their peers. And for the people with ADHD who are also not struggling with maybe some anxiety, depression, learning disabilities, those kinds of things, you can really see how motivated and amazing and how much they can do. But there are a lot of people with ADHD who have a lot of comorbidities like anxiety, depression, learning disabilities. And it is really not an additive to their life. Being distractible, being unorganized, having trouble with task initiation, struggling to regulate your emotions. That's not an additive. That's actually really, 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 really difficult. Now, can it be overcome? Yes. Can we access support? Well, some of us can. Some of us can, right? But when you're like, so I worked with students who struggled in school. The kids who came to me were privileged kids whose parents were parents who had money, parents who had access, parents who were cognizant of their kids' needs.
Yeah, so they're very attentive to that.
Yes. What about all of the other kids who didn't have access to a program like I was providing? What about all of the people across the world who don't have access to health insurance or medication or any of that? So can people with ADHD do amazing things? Absolutely. But I never give ADHD credit. I never want to give ADHD credit for the amazing things that I do. So when someone says like, oh, it's because you have ADHD, it's your superpower. I'm like, F that. Absolutely not. It's because I'm amazing and I have been able to overcome all of this. And ADHD, it's like in spite of ADHD, not because of ADHD.
Right.
That is a hot take though. Not everyone likes it. I find that especially parents of children do not like that take.
I bet. Yeah.
Because they want to be able to say to their kid, don't worry, it's a superpower.
Right.
But no child who is struggling and getting in trouble at school, like not able to do their homework, getting so much more corrective feedback than all of their peers is actually going to be like, oh, cool. This makes me, they're just like,
right. I'm so fabulous.
What? Yeah. It's like, so the way that I always like to talk about it is you're amazing. You have so many superpowers. There's so much good about you. You also have this thing that might make life a little bit harder or in some cases a lot harder. We're going to work on that and like treat that so that nothing stops you from becoming who you were meant to be.
I love it. It's when you list off all of the things, I kind of want you to go over a little bit about like, what does an ADHD diagnosis look like? Because I know you mentioned like anxiety, depression, the task is difficult. Like, can you give just like a good summary of what ADHD looks like? I know we'll kind of be a little redundant, but I think it might help people listening.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Identify themselves or others or...
Sure. The primary symptoms of ADHD are impulsivity and distractibility. Those two are like the primary symptoms. So impulsivity would be like interrupting a lot, making rash decisions, jumping to conclusions, having very little patience, reacting really quickly, impulsively starting things like impulsive purchases. Impulsivity is a big issue. And then distractibility as well. So like a little known fact, it's not that you don't have enough attention. It's that you have just as much attention as everybody else, but you can't regulate your attention. So you're not focusing your attention where it belongs or where like the task at hand. It's like your attention is going everywhere. So unable to like ignore irrelevant noises or conversations. And like, it can also be internal. So like difficulty blocking out your own thoughts. It can also be like you're distracted by your own emotions. So you feel a big emotion and it's just so distracting. Like how many people with ADHD have like gotten in a fight with their spouse before they left for work and then like forget about working all day because I'm so angry at my husband for being such an idiot. Yes. Now I can't get anything done. Whereas a neurotypical person is able to self-soothe and regulate and compartmentalize and just do the job at hand, right? There's a lot of internal restlessness. Time blindness is a big one. So like inability to just even conceptualize the passage of time. This is why we are always late and like forget about, how many times have I forgotten like my best friend's birthday, my own husband's birthday, like my kids? I'm just like, wait, it's your birthday tomorrow? Like, oh my gosh, those kinds of things. Like the time blindness is really difficult. Emotional self-control is really tough. So emotional dysregulation, we feel things really deeply and we don't have the ability to identify, process, self-soothe the emotions. Working memory is a big one. So it's not like your memory. I used to have parents when I was working with students and they'd be like, why can this kid remember every single detail of our trip to Disney from 7 years ago, but they can't remember to turn their homework in? And it's because working memory is the type of memory that you need just for a little bit to complete the task at hand. So your husband calls or your spouse calls or you're like, hey, can you pick up milk on the way home? And you're like, yes, got you, no problem. And then, of course, you're not going to pick up the milk because as soon as you get in your car, favorite podcast comes on. It's probably the Bomb Life podcast. And you're just like vibing with Melissa. And you're just like, the idea of picking up the milk is out the window. And you get home and your roommate's like, excuse me, where's the milk? And you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot. And then they're like, don't you love me? Don't you care about me? How could you? I asked you to do it. You said you would do it. You don't even love me. And you're just like, it's not that deep. I swear. I just Forgot. So it's working memory is like holding something in your mind long enough to complete the task. And then there's like this cluster of symptoms that's like organizing, problem solving, and prioritization. And those, I mean, this is so difficult because, again, this is why I'm like, ADHD is not a superpower. It is so debilitating. Imagine not being able to organize. Imagine not being able to problem solve. Imagine not being able to prioritize. What happens when you can't prioritize is you look at your list of tasks and you're like, where do I start? I don't even know. So I'm just going to go on my phone because I don't even know what to do. Right. And so like we don't get anything done because we don't know where to start.
Yeah.
So that can be really, really difficult. And then there's like task initiation and task completion also. So like it's hard to get started on a task. It's also hard to finish a task. So that's like pretty much an overview. Gosh. If you can think of ADHD as being disorder of self-regulation, it's really difficult to regulate my attention.
Right.
My behavior and my emotions. Yep. Those are the three big things that we struggle to regulate.
Hey, Bomb Life fam, I have a question for you. Are you the kind of person who crushes it at work, shows up for your family, checks off every to-do list, but when it comes to your fitness, your energy, and your confidence, it feels like something's missing? You might be doing the workouts, listening to all the right podcasts. I mean, you are listening to this one. But deep down, you know you're just kind of going through the motions and you're done playing small in this area of life. That's exactly why I created Fit Mind Coaching, my private one-on-one program for high-achieving women and men who are ready to level up. This isn't just another fitness plan. This is about building the body and the mindset to match the life you're working so damn hard for. Because success in business means nothing if you're hiding in hoodies, avoiding mirrors, or dragging through your day with zero energy, or showing up on Zoom meetings feeling good from the chest up, but praying no one ever sees what's going on below the screen. We're talking about fat loss, muscle building, and real confidence that bleeds into every area of your life, your boardroom, your bedroom, and your parenting. You want it all? Good. You should have it all. Let's go. Click the link in the show notes and book your free call with me today. Let's build the strongest, most confident version of you inside and out. You're ready for more, and I'm ready to show you how. Back to the show. God, that just summed it up beautifully. And like, as I'm sitting here listening.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Kelly Clarkson with Wayfair. My favorite thing about the holidays, decking out my whole house. It's not a competition, but if it was, well, I'd win the season with Wayfair. Outdoor inflatable Santa, got it on Wayfair. Trees, lights, and ornaments, Wayfair. Hosting must-haves like dining sets, beds, sheets, and towels, Wayfair. For everything in your style delivered with fast and free shipping, visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app to win the season. But again, it's not a competition.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
College football never stops. When college football news breaks, it breaks on On3. From the transfer portal to the playoff race to coaching changes, the sport is moving every single day. That's why college football fans turn to On3, a trusted authority with real reporters and real communities built around the teams you care about. Find all of your favorite teams and join the community. Get the full picture at on3.com. That's ON and the number 3.com.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care. Go to Dutch.com to get vet care that is always there for just $92 a year.
You, Kristen, I'm just like, wow, she just like described me. Not all of it, 1,000%, but there's so many things. Like, you should see my desk and how I operate. It is lists of sticky notes.
Yes.
Like, just sticky notes like everywhere. And then I have like a task thing on my phone to like help me not remember. But then I also have a dry erase board on my desk too. And it's like to do. And then I can like write and erase. And like, it's just, it's so much.
We call that externalization.
Okay.
You're having to externalize everything because in your mind, it's just pretty messy. It gets lost up there. So you're actually accommodating yourself really nicely. You're externalizing everything.
I have to.
Right? Because it's out of sight, out of mind.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely have to. And then the other part too is the time, like 2 hours can go like that. And I've completed 50 tasks in that 2 hour span. And nothing was like, I'm going to do this chunk and then this chunk and then this chunk. It was like, I went from here and bing and bing and bing and bing and bing. But the same thing too. And I'm always late. Even when I try, and even when I try to be like early, being early feels uncomfortable.
Yes. This is something that we address often. Well, there's discomfort with being early because, first of all, it's like, it feels like a waste of time to be early.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's like, what am I doing? I had 7 minutes. I could have unloaded the dishwasher.
Yes.
Like, why am I doing this? Right? So our brain is really resistant to being early. Also, we anticipate being bored. It's why am I just going to be bored? Boredom is the worst feeling I've ever felt in my whole life. And I've felt a lot of feelings. So like, why would I subject myself to that? I think those are the two primary reasons why, even when we kind of like set ourselves up to be early, then our brain fills in the time with like, actually, why don't I just do these 3 things really quick before I leave?
Yeah. And it, like you said, the 7-minute thing, that was so funny because I'm like, I've had my kids or someone else be like, we only got like 10 minutes. And I'm like, I can literally rule the world in 10 minutes.
I could get so much done in 10 minutes, more than most people get done in an hour.
Yeah. I'm like, do you realize that that's like 2-minute block here and a 3-minute block here? And it like, do you know how much we can get done?
Totally.
Give me 2 hours to give me a simple task. Oh, we're folding laundry. There's something shiny over here. Yeah. Then I'm calling, then I'm organizing. I'm like, oh, my brain. But I'm so happy that I took action back, early on, because it did help. And I did get put on Concerta.
Yes. Yeah.
I was on, oh my God, I haven't said that word in a long time. And that helped me a lot through college.
Great. Yeah.
But I was not on it long. It definitely messed with appetite. And with as much as that I train, and that time I was doing ball too, I was playing college ball. I was like, I can't mess with my appetite.
Yeah, you have to have access to your appetite.
Yeah. And I had to come off and, I got pregnant. I'm like, you cannot be pregnant on that. And when I came off, it was horrible. I didn't sleep, I think, for like 48 hours. I remember the first night I came off, maybe it was the second night, and it was actually out of my system. And I just laid there. And I'm like, oh God, what is going on with me?
That's horrible.
And then I told my doctor and they're like, well, let's just write you an Ambien.
Oh my God.
Well, no, I don't want to take another drug. And
no,
I don't think I had it all together either. That you're giving me a lot of credit because I was a major in social work. That's my major.
Oh, wonderful.
And so the classes that I was taking was waking me up. And I'm like,
that's awesome.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Can we talk about relationships and ADHD?
Yes. My special interest. I would love to.
Oh my God. Because you have to explain to us. I mean, I'm sure everyone's like getting an idea of it right now as we're listening, but how does this impact close relationships? What have you seen with like even romantic, family, siblings, parents, your own kids, friendships? How do you see this impacting us?
It's so pervasive. And I actually just finished writing a book about this topic. So I'm, oh my gosh, because this is something in the ADHD space that's not talked about a whole lot, right? When we are waking up to ADHD, we're like triaging. Like, yes. I just got to keep a job. I just got to get to work on time. I just got to be able to like not drain my bank account every month. Like somebody help me to triage, right? And that's important and it's wonderful. But once we've kind of like unpicked that layer and we have the space to go a little bit deeper, we realize how much ADHD impacts all of our relationships because our symptoms are so apparent and they impact the people that we love, the people that we live with, right? So if I am late picking up my kid from soccer practice and he's the last one there waiting for his mom, just like, hello, do I even have a parent? That's going to impact a relationship.
Yes.
Right? Not that I'm speaking from experience. I'm just
right.
Hypothetically,
not us.
Or, having little kids, like remembering all of the dress up days and helping them with their homework and like the amount that ADHD impacts our relationships is massive. And then you think about maybe like a romantic partner where you're sharing money, you're sharing a space, you're sharing a car, all of the ways that our symptoms, our disorganization, our inability to prioritize, our inability to manage our emotions, our inability to remember the very simple things, that's going to impact our relationships heavily. And listen, what I've noticed, and we surveyed 2,100 people with ADHD for the book, and so many people experienced relational dysfunction in their childhood. So when we think about ADHD, it's heritable. It's actually as heritable as height. So ADHD travels in families. And when you think about your parents or your parents' parents and like the generations of ADHD and how that's in the chaos, the explosions, all of the different ways that we impact each other. And then think about like how rare a diagnosis was, for our parents and grandparents, and definitely not even available to our great grandparents.
Right.
And so how much that has impacted us generationally is wild. It is just, That's wild.
Crazy. That's crazy. And I see myself like when you talk about impacting the relationships, like my kids are all in different sports and like different club sports. And like my youngest right now is in cheer. And that is a whole world. And like, I don't speak cheer. I speak girl. I have 3 girls, but
I have 3 boys, so I can't.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We live on 2 different planets.
I love it.
But, like the hair and the bow and the makeup and I'm just like, okay. And I remove myself. I had to do it when my daughter started playing club volleyball too, because I was their coach. And then I'm like, nope, someone else needs to coach you. And I just remove. So I drop off. I go to the gym. I go do other things. I pick up. And with cheer, I'm doing the same thing. I'm like, I drop you off. When do you need to be picked up? What important things do I need to know? Where, when do I need to be? And everything else, I remove myself. And I have realized that like my brain can only handle so much. And my kids don't understand that. And I keep trying to explain that to them. Like, I have so much on my plate. I need to remove things that I can remove.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm paying for cheer, they got you. Like, you're going to get everything done that you need to do. And if your dad wants to take over all that, but my brain can't handle every detail of your schedule. And like, they have to have their hair done for a specific way for every practice. I'm like, oh.
For practice?
For practice. Yes. And an outfit. And some days it's twin day. And some days it's black shorts with a blue top. And I'm like, nope. You just tell me what you need from me then. But my kid gets upset at me because she's like, you don't care. And I'm like, oh, honey, no, it's not that I don't care and that I'm not involved, because I'm not one of the moms at the windows watching every single moment. My brain can only handle so much, and I have a life. I can't let my life be everything that you do, and I can't live for cheer for you.
Yeah.
But
I think you're describing so perfectly like our limited capacity.
Yes.
Right. And for some, I mean, it actually sounds like you're a very high capacity person, but you're also extremely busy, and you recognize when you need to create space in your capacity. And there are some very low capacity ADHDers that can barely handle just like getting ready for the day, right? Like that sucks it out of them. So it does vary person to person. But I think what you're describing so perfectly is like, even just as a human, like we all have a limited capacity, and not everything can be our priority. Your daughter's well-being is your priority. Her cheer outfit, not so much.
Don't give a shit about your hair.
Yeah, girl, I can't even
love you, but yeah. And it's nice to know that I'm like not broken, like this conversations are so validating.
Yes.
So validating. And they really help. So I hope other people are listening and like they can relate, and I have taken a long time to get where I'm at. Like years of therapy, a lot of reading, learning what tools work for me, what doesn't work for me. Like, perfect example, the only way that I survived college and sitting in like a lecture hall and like studying, and this was after medication, like I couldn't be on it anymore. I literally had pens and markers lined up on my desk. And when when I would take notes, I would like do a section in one pen. Then I would have to switch to a fountain pen. And then I would have to switch to like a marker pen. And then I would highlight in pink. And like, I had to change something while I was sitting there.
You were giving yourself novelty. You're giving your brain novelty, and the ADHD brain craves novelty. It's
tell me more about that.
Tiny little dopamine hit when there's something new. So we have an interest-based nervous system.
Okay.
So we're concerned about the things that we're interested in. Now, you may not have been interested in the class itself, but you were interested in getting a degree.
Yeah.
You were interested in like passing and doing well, right? And so what you were doing, it was like a little hack for creating that novelty that wasn't really available to you in the lecture hall. It was like, so it's the same with like, if we have to do something boring, but we bring a fun snack.
Yes.
Right? It's the same. It's like, okay, I have to do this shit. I don't feel like doing it. It's so boring. I would rather die than do this, but I have to do this. So I'm going to eat a fun snack, or I'm going to listen to this great podcast while I do the laundry. Or it's just like adding in the novelty to the things that feel like, I mean, this is a little dramatic, but I always feel like laundry feels like death.
Yes.
Dishes feels like death. Like the complicated things in my life are actually the most exciting and the things that I want to do. The simple and mundane and like repetitive tasks, those are the ones that I'm like, if I have to load the dishwasher one more time, I'm going to die. It will incapacitate me. And so adding novelty into that, there's just like a little hack for the ADHD brain.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Well, I'm glad I'm doing it. And
You're doing it. Look at you go.
I'm a big gum chewer.
Yes. Oh, girl. Yes. And that is such like the sweet or the spice. Like I love cinnamon gum, like give me a little spice, like a little hit, you know? And I totally agree. It's a little stim. It's a little novelty. It's a little like my husband cannot stand it. He's just like, if we are like in the car or at church and he sees me reaching for the gum, he's like, please no, because I'm going to snap that gum.
Oh, I'm a snapper.
I'm going to chew with my mouth open and IDGAF. I do not care. This is my, like, I am surviving here.
Like if you want me to get through, like I can't drive long distances without gum. It is a must. I have packs of them everywhere in my life.
100%.
But again, these are things that I had to learn. And like over time develop. So I want people to know that like this doesn't happen overnight. Like you have to hear a podcast like this, listen to your podcast, learn, know that you're not broken, know that others are, going through it. And then how do you fix it? How do I enhance my life? Yeah. And learn what tools work for me. Okay. Emotional regulation. You've talked about this a couple times now. You've brought it up. Tell me, like, kind of like for dummies, what does a lack of emotional regulation look like? Just so like we get like the bare bones on this.
Okay. So emotional regulation is your ability to identify, process, and soothe your emotions. Lack of emotional regulation looks like disconnected, looks like when you are feeling emotion, not really understanding what's going on. Looks like when you are feeling emotion, not knowing what to do with it. And so, because I don't know what to do with this big emotion in my body, I'm going to throw it out onto someone else because it's so uncomfortable in me. I haven't learned how to tolerate it, how to make space for it. So I have to get it out of me and onto you. I'm going to throw it onto someone else. I'm going to yell. I'm going to scream. I'm going to send a nasty email. I'm going to write a very fiery Instagram or Facebook post. I'm going to get this out of me and put it somewhere else because I can't handle it on my own. So in childhood, this looks like having parents that yell and scream, having parents that are using like physical violence, maybe like hitting or pinching or like some sort of like, And again, ADHD travels in families. So we've got generations of traumatized folks who are really struggling. When I did the survey, so again, we surveyed 2,100 people with ADHD, and I forget what the exact percentage was, but at least 80% said that they were not taught how to regulate their emotions as a kid.
That's high.
That's, as you know, with a degree in social work, like that is the primary job of a parent, is to co-regulate with their child and teach their child emotional regulation through co-regulation. But when you have ADHD or you are highly traumatized or both, and you have no access to that as a parent, and so then you absolutely cannot teach that to your kid. And so then the cycle is just repeating and repeating. So I learned emotional regulation when my kids were already 11, 9, and 5. And so I had to teach my kids emotional regulation when they were much later in their like childhood journey, because it was not something I was ever taught. And I had no idea how to do it. And so I was a yeller. I was a screamer. I was a pincher. Somebody was just like, oh, like I had to throw my emotions out on my kids. And when I finally learned to like self-soothe, own it, take responsibility for my own emotional experience, then and only then was I able to co-regulate and help my kids learn the same.
Yeah. They're not going to get that from anyone else.
No.
Anyone else. That was something that came later for me too. And I'm still working on it. And the one area that I find it comes out in the most is like a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
You know, when I can, if I feel like I'm in a safe place, then I allow myself to be more emotional than I like. That comes out
You're like,
more.
why am I crying? I'm so mad that I'm crying right now.
Yeah. But man, that came with a lot of time and patience and practice and learning tools too of like, how do I sit down? Okay, let's separate fact from feeling. Are these facts that you're going off of right now, or are they just your feelings?
Yeah.
You know, what's truth? What's not? And that has taken me so much work, but it's so interesting to learn how much this like goes hand in hand with this. And like you said, passed down.
Fascinating. Like I said, like the more I learn about ADHD, the more I'm like, do I even know anything about it? Because you just like, the more you learn, you're just like, this is fascinating. And what I think is the most important thing is to understand how pervasive it is. So I like to say that ADHD affects us from the boardroom to the bedroom. There's no area of our lives that ADHD doesn't touch. And so even if you think about something as quote unquote simple, which is not simple, but as simple and as like human as emotional regulation, something that like every human needs to learn. And yet we're developmentally delayed in this area because of ADHD and because of our family history or both. And just like learning it as adults. That's why, you know, coaches like you and programs like mine, like I feel like we're teaching a generation of humans and helping a generation of humans who just like were underparented in a lot of ways. And not everyone identifies as such. And so that's fine. I know I'm painting with a broad brush, but also I've coached thousands of y'all and we are under-nurtured and underparented.
I mean, I work with women that are like, I didn't even know my mom not on a diet.
Right.
And I'm like, you couldn't be more underparented when it comes to nutrition and what to
heart ache
and how to love yourself and how your self-worth isn't connected to food or the number on the scale. Like the women that I work with that are in here, like talk about being underparented. Like I'm like, no one taught them. And now they're here and it's like, they're all these broken little 12-year-old girls.
Exactly. And that it's such just like coach to coach, like it's such a high calling to have the privilege of like holding the care of all of these humans that are just like really searching for safety and for nurture. It is a big responsibility. I don't take it lightly.
Oh, it is. Yeah, you can't if you put yourself in this position because I mean, women and men, you know, they're hurting, you know, and I have male clients too. And I'm like, you're a broken little 5-year-old boy.
Yes.
And that's okay. And we're going to love and work on him.
Do some work.
We're going to do some work, but know that you're not broken and there is hope and it's never too late. So that's one thing I wanted to get across that like someone's listening to this and they're 45 years old.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit, I think I might have ADHD.
Yeah.
It's not too late.
Oh my gosh, no. I just interviewed someone on my podcast that just came out this week. He was diagnosed at 55 and his life has completely changed. She's 58 now. I'm pretty sure if I'm remembering correctly. And his life is completely changed. It's never too late. I have people in my program that were diagnosed in their 70s. And God bless the clinicians that are willing to diagnose and treat people in their 70s because so many clinicians now are just like, you're like, what's the point? But I'm like, no, you've got a lot of life to live. We're living to 90 or 100 these days. Like, let's make the most of it.
Yes. Yeah. Live your best life ever.
100%.
Okay. So for people listening right now that can relate to this and they're like, oh my God, everything they talked about is me. What do you suggest is the next step for them?
I think that learning more about ADHD would be amazing. I think that is a great place to start. Like educate yourself on ADHD would be a great place to start. I have a list of symptoms on my website. If that's interesting to you guys, it's ihaveadhd.com. And just learning more through like podcasts and how do I say this? Through credible creators as well would be great. Not everyone is credible, so just use your discernment, but like credible creators as well, because the more that you learn about it, the more you will either identify with the symptoms or you won't. Mm-hmm. And so that will give you more information. And then what I always encourage people to do is print out the symptoms from my website, circle the ones that you relate to, write down memories or stories of like, you know, exactly how this kind of worked out in your life, especially if you can remember it in your childhood, or you can ask like your parents or your people that knew you in childhood. Because if you do choose to go for a diagnosis, being able, first of all, you're not going to remember. So please understand that your working memory sucks if you have ADHD. So just being like, oh yeah, I'll remember. No, you won't, honey. No, you won't. You got to write it down. So write it down. And if you decide to go for a diagnosis, they will ask you like, okay, so like, how have these symptoms played out in your life?
Right.
And did you, in order to be diagnosed with ADHD, you have to have been symptomatic before age 16. And so making sure that like, and that's a good qualifier, because if not, like maybe it's just perimenopause. And I don't mean just, because I am in it.
Right. I know what you mean.
No, I do not mean just, but like maybe it is not actually an ADHD diagnosis would be appropriate. And that's what the clinician's job is to make sure that it's an appropriate diagnosis. But I would say learning more is a great place to start.
Yeah. I love that, like, of learning more too about like your childhood and asking your parents and stuff, because I remember having to do that and asking my mom about certain things. And she'd be like, well, I don't know. No, you were fine. And no one paid attention to me. I was literally just passed along, but I clearly remembered almost failing 3rd grade, 5th grade, 6th grade was a struggle.
Honey.
Yeah. And I remember them like bringing my parents in. I never went to parent teacher conferences. My mom had to come in because I was going to fail. And they were just telling her like, she's not getting any of this. And I went to a private school too. Mm-hmm. So they were like, this is the way. This is the only way. And she's just bad.
Oh, that's so tough. It's so many of us grow up thinking we're the problem. Yeah. Because we're treated like the problem our whole lives, right? Yeah, absolutely. If you can remember, or even you might have access to your report cards, like that would be great too. Yep. So many, especially girls with ADHD, that like on the either progress reports or report cards, it's going to say like, she's really smart, but she talks too much in class, or she's got a lot of potential, but she just needs to turn in her homework. Like those kind of comments are classic for ADHDers.
Mm-hmm. I remember forging and trying to change the grades on one of our,
of course,
our report cards. Yep.
That's just survival.
I would cheat.
Yeah. Girl, those are survival skills. And I do not fault you for that at all.
Mm-hmm. But I was bad. You know, I was told I was so bad. I'm just naughty. Yeah, but I've learned and grown. And now we're having these conversations, helping other people.
Yeah, so
they can break the cycle and they can help their kids. Oh, Kristen, when do you think your book is going to come out? When do you think we're going to?
October of 2026, less than a year.
Oh, I know, my God.
Freaking out.
That's amazing.
I'm like, on one hand, I know it's going to help so many people. On the other hand, I'm like, I kind of hope nobody reads it, because there's a lot of personal stuff in there. And I'm like, hopefully nobody will read it. And my team is like, actually, the publisher's like, actually, we want people to read. I'm like, okay.
Oh my God. Well, when that comes out and you're doing a launch and you're pushing, please, we're going to have you back on.
I would love it.
Oh,
I would love it. Thank you so much for that. I would love it.
We will definitely support you. So tell us again, how can people find you, follow you, give us all the things, and we'll put it in the show notes too.
Okay, great. So I have a free podcast. It's the I Have ADHD podcast. You can find it wherever you listen to your podcast. So wherever you find Bomb Life, you can listen to I Have ADHD podcast. We also just launched on YouTube, which is brand new territory for us. So if you're someone that likes to have the visual component, come find us on YouTube at I Have ADHD podcast. I'm on Instagram and like all the socials too. So come hang out with me there. And then my website is ihaveadhd.com for free resources. And also you can learn more about Focus if that's something that's interesting to you.
I love it. I love it. Oh, Kristen, this has been just incredible. Thank you so much for coming on. I can't wait to have you back. And then just keep me updated too about the book, because we will like drop little hints on our intros and stuff and let people know when it's coming as well.
Awesome, Melissa. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you. Everyone stay safe, stay healthy. Until next time. The Bottom Life podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The content shared here is not intended as medical, legal, or professional advice. Always consult with a qualified professional before making any health, fitness, financial, or legal decisions. The opinions shared on this podcast are personal experiences and insight. So if you need expert guidance, go find the right professional for you. Thanks for listening.
College football never stops. When college football news breaks, it breaks on On3. From the transfer portal to the playoff race to coaching changes, the sport is moving every single day. That's why college football fans turn to On3, a trusted authority with real reporters and real communities built around the teams you care about. Find all of your favorite teams and join the community. Get the full picture at on3.com. That's ON and the number 3.com.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care. Go to Dutch.com to get vet care that is always there for just $92 a year.